This episode is sponsored by Squarespace. You may know about Awkwafina, you may even know about Simu Liu, but who is this actor? He looks important and, dare I say, kinda hot. It's a damn shame Tony Leung isn't more famous in the mainstream West, because in Asia he is called the man who can speak with his eyes. That is both a compliment to his dashing good looks and his incredible acting talent. Every look he gives contains 1,000 stories. With 40 plus years of acting experience, whopping 5 Hong Kong Film Awards for Best Actor and a Cannes Film Festival Best Actor Award to boot, this is a man with a lot to offer. It is high time we pay this man our respect. So let's take a brief look at Tony Leung's long and ongoing career and see what we can learn from the man who can speak with his eyes. Born in a poor family with a lot of arguments, his father, a chronic gambler, left the family when he was 8. Leung's quiet and introverted personality was formed in this environment.
我学校里面好像很少有这样破碎家庭，就感觉自己好像很
跟别人不太一样。
对。
And then he met someone, a friend who also came from a broken family, Stephen Chow. Now, Chow always wanted to be an actor, and through him, Leung also began to learn to act. Together with an 8mm film camera, they made some short films. Acting became one of Leung's emotional outlets.
人家不会觉得那个是我的情绪，会觉得是我在演一个人物，是那个人物的情绪，其实是我。
Eventually, Stephen Chow auditioned for the acting school in Hong Kong's biggest TV station, and Tony Leung went with Chow as a moral support. In an ironic twist you probably saw coming, Chow failed and Leung got in. Turns out, Leung is a natural. At age 22, most actors are still acting by demonstrating or indicating, walking with their elbows out to signal that they are angry. It's an obvious choice, but usually not the most interesting. Comparatively, Leung's acting is much more layered. He stands with his head up. On the outside, he is confident. But look at his eyes. He doesn't look at his superior officer, he doesn't look forward. Even though his head is up, his eyes are down. On the inside, he is panicking.
Yes, sir.
His line is just 2 words, but we know he is worried, scared, impatient, and a bit angry. Now that really captures the complexity of human emotion. With this level of talent, Tony Leung's career got an early start. In 1989, at age 27, he starred in his first internationally renowned masterpiece, A City of Sadness. The film follows the lives of 4 Taiwanese brothers after World War II. With the Japanese rule ended, Taiwan was optimistic about the future. Leung plays the youngest brother, a deaf and mute character. This is the first time we see him, and just from this one moment when he looks at her for a bit too long, we know their relationship. Now look at this scene. See how much his eyes dart around while smiling? Without a single word, we know this character is optimistic, full of childlike innocence. But then, tragedy strikes. With a prejudice against Taiwanese people, the newly established Kuomintang government massacred thousands of Taiwanese people. Post-war optimism quickly turned to horror. Turns out, this is a movie about the hopelessness felt by Taiwan for much of its recent history. He is Leung the night of the incident. For me, this movie marks the high point of first phase Tony Leung. Leung at his most technical, most expressive, and in a way, most visceral. Every look of his eyes, every gesture he makes communicates the mind of a character cleanly and clearly. It's a similar sort of technique used by other legends like Mang Dat. Unsurprising, since they came from the same school. But what took Uncle Tat half a lifetime to achieve, Leung managed to do it proficiently just 6 years into his film career. In this scene, after all the pain and sadness, Leung still smiles when he sees his love, but without the innocence he previously shown. And when all is over, the youth who was once naive and optimistic is now a mature man with responsibilities. What a remarkable transformation. By most measure, Tony Leung had mastered what he learned in school. He would continue to utilize these techniques in future films, most notably in John Woo's Hard Boiled. But to go up, Leung had to start forging his own path and learn without a master. It was then, in the 90s, he would meet the man who became the most important director in his life, Wong Kar-wai. Now, I read all of your emails. That's how I know half of you are artists, actors, and filmmakers. And I'm here to tell you, you are going to need a website from Squarespace. Because, speaking from experience, having a website where you can have your bios, portfolio, and contact info all in one place is just much more professional and appealing. And with Squarespace, all you need to do is pick a template and start from there. With so many templates to choose from, it doesn't matter what medium you specialize in, there's bound to be something for you. Start your free trial at squarespace.com/accentcinema and use the code accentcinema to get 10% off your first purchase. Oh, and here's a business tip. Make sure you have a site for your business and a separate site for your personal art, so your business service doesn't devalue your art pieces. Luckily, Squarespace is so user-friendly, making one more website takes no time at all. Visit squarespace.com/accentcinema right now and show yourself to the world. In 1992, Tony Leung appears in his first Wong Kar-wai movie, Days of Being Wild. Wong Kar-wai, in case you don't know, is one of the most influential art house directors from Hong Kong. Even Tarantino is a fan. Interestingly, Tony Leung's role was limited to a 3-minute end credit Easter egg, in which the movie teases a sequel that was never made. In this unscripted long take of a scene, Leung plays a professional gambler in the process of getting dressed, making himself presentable. It's a silent scene about showing off a character without a defined goal or strong emotions. It goes completely against Leung's expressive acting style, so intentional or not, Wong and Leung approach this scene with the Meissner technique. Take after take. Through sheer repetition, Tony Leung familiarized himself with the actions of a gambler. With each take, there is less acting and more instinct. Over 20 takes later, every movement Leung makes oozes proficiency. He's doing this without thinking. Despite the crushingly low ceiling, Leung fits into the space like it's his home. He suits himself up as if he has done this a million times. It actually reminds me of Michael Fassbender, another actor whom I know is great but can't always figure out exactly what's so great. But that is the point. These actors are so natural at being their characters that techniques have become invisible to us. They don't look like they're acting, which may be one of the greatest achievements for an actor. This is the beginning of Phase 2 Tony Leung. Gone is the direct communication of emotions, where fear and joy are all written on his face. Going forward, Leung's acting would be much more naturalistic, with the emphasis on internalizing the characters. It's less showy, but much more intriguing, as it invites the audience to interpret the characters rather than the characters telling the audience. This reserved and implicit style would go on to win Tony Leung his Best Actor award in the Cannes Film Festival for his performance in the Mood for Love. In this film, Tony Leung plays a husband with an unfaithful wife. It was 1960s Hong Kong. Gossip like this was enough to ruin someone's life, so Leung has no one to talk to and has to hold everything inside his heart. If the role was played by Phase 1 Tony Leung, the anger, the frustration, the sadness, and the act of him hiding it would all be perfectly expressed. But instead, with a more mature Tony Leung, his acting is much harder to decipher. Other than the sense of loneliness, you don't really know what he's thinking. He stares at himself as we stare at his eyes. We want to listen, but he's not saying anything. At times, his eyes look like they are about to tear up, but they never do. It's ambiguous. His eyes shift, looking at nothing but his own thoughts. And then, he smiles. At that moment, everything makes sense. He, too, doesn't know what he's thinking. He doesn't know how to react to everything that had happened. He, by instinct, pretends nothing is happening. At this point, Leung's acting doesn't just have moods and emotions, it has stories. That is a much more naturalistic choice, a distinct choice from this particular character. And to do that, Leung becomes the character. That is some masterful work. Finally, let us take a look at what I believe to be Tony Leung's best performance, Lust, Caution. The film tells the story of a young amateur actress on a mission to seduce and assassinate a man, a traitor who's been aiding the Japanese in their invasion. That man is Mr. Yi, played by Tony Leung. Look at him, quickly checks his surroundings before darts indoor like a rat. It is such a blink and you will miss it moment. These sort of details are all over his performance, so subtle you don't see them casually, but you feel them. You feel the character, a conniving snake of a man. In a way, Leung's acting is a continuation of In the Mood for Love and 2046, playing a mystery character whom the audience has a hard time reading, appropriate for an antagonist. In fact, these characters are so similar, it brought Leung some trouble during production. There were moments where he had to stop in the middle of the take because he realized he was walking like Mr. Chow from 2046 and not Mr. Yi.
我一走路我就走回那个2046那个人的走路，所以很多时候虽然你离开，但是它已经变成你的一部分，根本是永远都在你里面。
As the mission progresses, the two gets closer and closer, and in this scene, you can see Leung acting in full throttle. He starts off staring at his opponent like a predator, but as the conversation continues, he begins to relax. Not open up per se, but arrogance, confident that he has this under control. Leung's character would constantly flip-flops between a monster and a lonely, vulnerable man. See how all of his venoms are gone in this shot. And he communicates that without specific gestures or movements. It's nothing but a facial expression. And to have that level of nuanced control is nothing short of legendary. The most impressive part is the film never actually established how dangerous Mr. Yi is. He just looks dangerous. Half of the film's tension relies solely on Leung's venomous eyes. Seeing how much natural talent Tony Leung has can be demoralizing. Starring in a Golden Lion Award film at age 27, it doesn't feel fair, right? But I think that's looking at it from the wrong angle. Remember, this man is such a shy introvert, an interview is enough to make him uncomfortable. That's why I only showed this one throughout the video. There aren't that many good ones out there. He, too, has his own weaknesses he had to overcome. Besides, natural talent can only bring you so far.
一直到今天我都是这样的，看完以后我都会觉得，不是很好，还有很多地方可以改善。
Tony Leung's career is brilliant because he constantly surpasses what he had done before. To him, success should not be a one-and-done thing. It should be a continuous process of self-improvement. And that process now lasted 40 years. It led to Shang-Chi, introducing him to a massive mainstream audience. So, when Shang-Chi comes out, pay close attention to his acting and appreciate his performance. Those eyes are the eyes of an acting master.